So I came across this in the last couple of days. In fact, I shared it, and this poor individual, and I have sympathy. I really do. But it's what she says, and to me, it's indicative of so many people. You know, when you wonder why so many people took something that they were already warned about, mainstream, by the way, mainstream, that the very manufacturers of this would only entertain handing shots through government, remember, through government. That was another thing that I thought was absolutely outrageous. When you think of so many people who, funnily enough, oh, well, I'm just going to pop off from being a politician. You look, for example, in Scotland's case, Nicola Sturgeon, yeah? She was literally demonising people. Mind you, you can think of that individual in, where would it be? New Zealand. Jacinda Ardern, yeah? The demonisation of anybody that wasn't taking this experimental vaccine, yeah? That was pushed through government. No, the manufacturer said, look, we will only do this on blanket immunity to any kind of prosecution at all. And these puppets demonised the public, and in many instances went out their way to say, oh, if they want to travel, if they want to do whatever else. And then so many of these, shall we say, supposed journalists, think about Piers Morgan, think about so many others, yeah, who literally demonised people that might have had a doubt, and for good reason. But when I heard this, and under fair use, let me play you some of this.
Just following doctor's orders, following the government mandates, and now this is my life.
I mean, that's for so many children, and we're now at least a couple of generations into this infanticide. In all honesty, they're not adults, many of them. Look, children that have been brought up by great parents or parent, yeah? Some of them are people that you'd say, yep, there's still good people out there. Bit of common sense, brought up right, blah, blah, blah. Because that's the whole purpose of individuality, to question what is being told to you, especially to your detriment if you don't go with the flow. But now, and it was fine people like John Taylor Gatto, I remember that American guy involved in, an author, of course, involved in some fine quality teaching, but he'd studied what was happening in, well, places like the Frankfurt Institute and American policies regards, well, the education system over a number of decades. And of course, what you see in the UK, I mean, remember, and always under the guise of keeping you safe, the banning of the belt, blah, blah, blah. I cannot say enough, and I'm selling it apparently to no one, that getting rid of the belt in the UK was one of the fundamental steps towards creating a population that does not sense any danger. You see, the thing is, one of the things about when you got the belt, bloody hell, it hurt, absolutely. And funnily enough, you know what? You started thinking twice. Is this course of action that I'm planning as regards being a cheeky little shite in the class, is it the wisest move? Blah, blah, blah. Do I really want to go through that pain? The point is, it got you kick-started into start questioning what you're about to do. Yeah? That was, be more spatially aware in life. We've now got at least two generations, where they're not really spatially aware at all about consequences. Seriously, none. That's why so many of them feel so entitled, all the rest of it, this illusion that somehow that going with the flow brings an easier time. Some sort of virtue out of it. But let's carry on.
Free fries when you get vaccinated. I got vaccinated.
After every
Who the fuck talks while they're eating, for a start? It is ill-mannered. I've done it myself occasionally with the right type of friends, i.e. when you're out grafting, whatever else, and, you know, you're grabbing 5 or 10 minutes. But no, I mean, that's just, you know, wrong. But it's also about, well, contempt.
vaccine shot and I had 3, my eczema got
Vaccine shot and she had 3. And at each, this is the key part here, at each vaccination, her eczema, in her own words, got worse. And see, it goes back to this. There's no sense of danger these days. There's no like, well, you know, I have a doubt or two in where I'm going here. You know? There's no sense of individuality. You know, most importantly, individual responsibility to oneself. And of course others, but to oneself. Yeah? Now, government says blah, blah, blah. Whatever. I've been told. But
worse.
But there's also a burger element to this.
seriously, doing this guy when he's sitting with his occult buddies, do you think he's just scoffing away while talking and all the rest of it? I mean, it's mockery. It's so many things. It's part of how cocky they are about what they were selling en masse through the various networks to the population at large.
Do you know
Hey, you get a free burger. Why wouldn't you do this? Come on.
that I'm paying $1,164 on a medication called Dupixent? By the way, that's half off. On a drug that I did not need.
And I bet you somewhere in the background there, it'll be basically what something she's consuming. Because remember, she obviously had eczema before she took the Jags. But I would say, like so many, they just seem to stumble through life, never like analysing what they've previously done and thought, maybe this is how I've got here. You know? I'm making no sense to nobody. It's not an easy video. I certainly don't make it so, but, you know.
Prior to this, prior to the
I mean, apparently banks of confidence, but not, you know, you go girl and all the rest of it, but not when it comes to compliance. You know?
vaccines, prior to, I was literally just following doctor's orders.
As I said, this will make no sense to most people, but I still thought I'd do the vid. I mean, if you look at the mindset, that is so many people these days. So many people. And they will just, honestly, they don't seem to learn from anything. It's scary. And honestly, I really do believe that it goes back to the days when we used to have the belt and all the rest of it. It just was part of growing up and like, hey, there's consequences. Have you thought this through? You know, it starts getting you to think ahead. Yeah? You can still have a personality, confidence, all the fucking rest of it. But you also have to question your own judgment. Your own judgment. Yeah? It's just like the negation of all that. That's what we're seeing en masse.